I actually love seeing people progress and become better. So that's what my passion is.
Welcome to the next episode of the My Posing Coach podcast. My name's Amy Fox and I'm joined today by IFBB Bodybuilder, State Champion, Amateur Mr. Olympia Australian Champ, Arnold Classic Champ, the list goes on, and the newest New South Wales Men's Bodybuilding Overall Champion for the IFBB Pro League. And I'm just going to add in here, half man, half bull, the Minotaur, Chris Kavvalos. Chris, welcome.
Thank you guys. How are we all doing?
You get good. You know, have I missed out anything?
Oh, the list
Probably.
goes on.
Yeah, the list goes on. I knew it. Hey, now tell everyone what the Minotaur actually is. Like, obviously, I said half man, half bull, but what does that represent and where's it from?
Well, it's from Greek mythology back from many, many years ago. It's half man, half bull, built on strength and power and that sort of stuff. So as we know, a bull is big and strong, and bodybuilding is focused on strength and size and that sort of stuff. And when I was a young kid, I used to grunt a lot, especially when I eat and especially when I sleep. I used to snore a lot. So people started calling me the Minotaur and that sort of stuff. And it just stuck with me over the years. So it's just grown up with it ever sinse.
So that's you now. And I've actually seen you've had a belt made and that's on the back of the belt, isn't it?
I had a custom made belt, embroidered all, called the Minotaur. I got the Greek flag on there too, so you don't forget where I'm from. So it works out well.
And you were born in Greece, you said?
I was born in Greece, in the island of Crete. Moved to Australia when I was 3 years old and I grew up in Sydney, Australia ever since.
Now that's awesome. And you've got brothers and sisters here in Australia?
Yes, I've got one brother, one sister, both married, happily married with kids, so they're my little punks. They're the best. They love to play games.
And you said they're young. They're really young, aren't they?
Yes. They've been between 2 and 6 years old, yes. So they're a lot of fun. Both nephews and nieces, so they're a lot of fun to play games with.
Because they're that age, like, do they come along to the competitions? Like, have they seen you on stage? Do they know what it's about? Yes,
sometimes they come to the shows, but because they're little kids, they like to play and they sleep and that sort of stuff. So it's kind of hard to keep them awake, and especially with the loud music and the audience. So it's a bit hard at times, but they have been, yes. But when they're older, of course, they'll be traveling the world with me, yes.
So being Greek, what does your mum think about the whole competing side of things? Like, is your family supportive?
My family's very supportive, yes. And also, as we all know, being Greek and dieting in the Greek household is very, very, very hard. There's a lot of sweets, there's a lot of chocolates, there's a lot of food everywhere, and there's always food in the house. So dieting in a Greek household is very tough, so it just requires a lot of discipline.
Do you have a lot of family like get-togethers with the food and that kind of thing where you take your own?
I've had to sacrifice a lot, especially during birthdays and all that sort of stuff. So we've had lamb on a spit. We have had a 30-kilo lamb cooking in the backyard. I'm sitting there eating my bag of lettuce with fish and just watching it rotate on the charcoal.
Sounds like torture.
It is very torturous, but it's all about discipline in the sport. You got to want something. Doesn't matter what's in front of you. You don't need to touch it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris, when did you get into bodybuilding? Because I read on your website that you were actually into football, like the rugby, beforehand, and then you kind of moved into ice hockey, or is it the other way around?
When I was a kid in high school, I used to play ice hockey after school and that sort of stuff, and I used to play rugby.
That's a vicious sport.
Yeah, it's pretty fast and an aggressive sport, so it's pretty full on. Never professionally, just like a few home games and things like that, the local clubs and things like that. Same thing with rugby league through the high school years and that sort of stuff. So I've always been into aggressive and power sports and that sort of stuff. So I've always been big and strong. So
what position did you play with the rugby?
Probably in the centre. So I copped the most abuse.
Yeah.
Copped the most abuse.
And it's funny because you were talking to me before, like you didn't really suffer any injuries or anything major.
No, because like I said, brought up in Greek household, we're all big people, so we've all got a real solid frame. So
hard to break.
Yeah, that's right. So luckily, fingers crossed, I stay injury free. I've only ever had one injury, and that was 2012, which was a motorcycle accident, which virtually almost killed me. Half my left body is made out of metal, so I got nuts and bolts and screws and pins all through my legs and arms. I couldn't walk for almost 2 years.
So how did that happen, Chris?
It was a motorcycle accident. I left the gym, in about 10, 11 o'clock at night on a Friday night. I was just cruising home on my motorcycle and this just drunk car ran a red light and just T-boned me.
Really?
My bike went one way and I went on another way. I woke up in hospital 3 days later.
So you don't remember anything?
I don't remember after the impact. It's like a blank spot.
And so what's the story behind that? Like, did you have any bystanders like see it? Like who called the ambulance if the other guy was drunk?
What I got told and what I saw on the CCTV camera footage, cars blocked off the intersection because I was just laying in the middle, wasn't moving. They blocked it off. Ambulance came, police came. They surrounded the area, put me in the ambulance and took me off. I never saw much of that footage after that.
Wow.
So
must have been hard to watch it back. Like, could you believe that it was you?
I couldn't watch it. I saw me flying like a bird. It was not nice.
Yeah.
But lucky I woke up in hospital. Someone was praying for me that day.
Yeah, wow. I didn't actually realise that had happened to you. Yeah. And you said that the injury sustained, like, how long was your recovery? What did you go through?
My recovery was almost 2 years. I could not physically walk for about a year and a half. I was on the couch. I was depressed. I was down. I was gaining weight. I was losing weight. I was drugged up on medications and painkillers. The nurse was coming over, changing stitches and all that sort of stuff. So I was losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight. At one stage, I dropped so much weight from the painkillers, I dropped down to about 65, 70 kilos. I looked very, very sick. And that's when I got very depressed and very down. And I started ordering pizza. I started getting pizzas daily. Like the little Indian guy at the pizza shop knows me by name by now. And he knows my order.
Yeah.
So, and that's when I gained some serious weight over that time. And that's when it just clicked after the 2 year period. I had to do something, get back on my feet. I had to do something. So I started just crawling around my house like a baby, doing a little bum shuffle kind of thing, like a baby. Started doing push-ups, just started hovering and hopping around, just started moving again kind of thing. Moving again, so I'm not, just sitting down all day.
Was it just something inside of you that flicked the switch, or like did you have like family or friends around you that started to get in your ear about it?
I had my family friends getting into my ear, but because I was so down and depressed because of the weight loss and how I actually looked, I just closed myself off and put myself in this little box and cave kind of thing, and I just kept to myself. And one day I just woke up and go, what am I doing with myself? I'm just sitting here going day by day, one day at a time, wasting time. What am I doing? I'm getting older. I'm getting worse. Let's fix this. Let's get back on my feet. Let's get up. Let's get going. Stop wasting time. Like, wake up kind of thing. And it just clicked, and that's when I started moving forward again.
Yeah. And so in like just before the accident, you were starting to get into your bodybuilding?
Yes, I started actually preparing for my first show.
So you hadn't quite yet competed?
No, I was actually started dieting, started getting into good shape, started eating right, all that sort of thing. Training was good, dieting was good, everything was good. And then I had the accident, and that's
obviously if you're at the gym at nearly midnight, like that's
yes, I was very determined to start training and get back into all that sort of stuff after the accident. So that's why I really wanted to get off my butt and get to work again.
Moving again.
Yes.
So do you remember your first day back at the gym after the accident?
Yes, absolutely. That's one day I will not forget, and it's always going to be in the back of my mind. And it still is. It still is, because that was the day I was actually in tears because I couldn't use my left leg. I was hovering around in the gym on a pair of crutches, crying because I was in so much pain. I was taking Nurofen and Panadol and all sorts of stuff just to stop the pain a little bit, but I just kept going.
What was it? What sort of pain were you experiencing? Like nerve pain? Or?
Nerve pain, numbness. I couldn't feel my toes. My left leg was numb. I couldn't feel like contraction in the muscle. No, nothing, because they've actually cut muscle tissue out and reattached it to bone and that sort of stuff because it completely detached.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So it was very, very painful, painful. So it didn't stop me from doing push-ups, some curls, some rows, all that sort of stuff. Just some ab work, just anything, just to get moving.
And so what would your advice be to someone who is, coming back from injury and they are frustrated because you can't do your normal split training program? You can't do legs, back, shoulders, arms.
My advice to people like that, we all have our troubles. We all go through injuries and all that sort of stuff, but it doesn't matter what kind of injury it is. There's always a way around it, and there's always other things you can do. Depends on the injury and that sort of stuff, but there's always tomorrow, and there's always that next day where you can wake up to yourself, you can keep moving forward, you can never give up. You got to have that never give up mindset. No matter how much it hurts, you just got to keep going. Yes, it's going to hurt for a couple months after, but a broken leg will heal over time. But that's the broken leg. Your arms are still good, your abs are still good, so train them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Great advice. And I guess it's one of those things, isn't it? Like they always say, just moving around is going to release some endorphins. It's going to give you a bit of a kick afterwards.
That's right. Just sitting still will make you worse. Just getting active and just doing anything. Yes, it may not be like how you eat years ago, pounding weight, all that sort of stuff. But as long as you're just doing something basic, even just a general brisk walk is something. Take the dog for a walk, or anyone. Get your brother, sister, go for a walk in the park, something. Throw the footballs, just anything, just to get active again.
So that accident happened in 2012.
2012, yes.
From 2012, when was the first competition that you actually entered and competed in?
2015.
Right, so 3 years after.
3 years after. And even then, my first show, my upper body was so large and my legs were so far behind, and I was very embarrassed. I was very shy to take off my shorts because of the size
And a lot
difference.
of guys say that, don't they?
Yes.
It's a big deal.
It's a very big deal, but because I was so depressed and how my legs looked because of the surgery, I just bit my tongue and I bit the bullet and I said, you know what? I'm just going to get on stage and do it.
Yeah.
Because I know my legs are eventually going to catch up. And it's just an injury. It's not an excuse.
Yeah.
And an injury will heal.
Yeah.
So we just got to just keep going.
And how did it feel actually putting the posing trunks on and,
Well, it was
revealing your legs to everyone?
It was very, very nerve-wracking looking down and seeing all the scars and all that sort of stuff. Even now, they're still there, the scars. So the reminder's still there on what actually happened. But like I said, it's an injury will heal, and we just got to keep going and just put it in the back of our mind.
So when you started your leg training, what kind of training were you able to do?
Well,
for that competition?
After the injury, my leg training was basically very, very basic.
Yeah.
My right leg was okay to do leg extensions and presses and all that sort of stuff, but my left leg was virtually unusable.
Okay.
So basically, I can only move my leg on its own kind of thing and just use like a very light rubber band.
Oh,
Virtually nothing. Even I just put like a little water bottle or just some sort of weight very lightly on my ankle and just lift it. Like those little ankle bracelets?
Yeah.
Just one of those.
The Brazilian ankle weights.
One of those, yes.
Yeah.
Those sandbags, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And just move my ankle, move my leg just to get some sort of movement.
Yeah. And when did you start getting feeling back?
After probably the third, close to fourth year.
Wow.
Around then, that's when everything started healing right, and that's when I was able to walk 100% again, and that's when I thought, you know what, I'm still in pain, but I'm going to start pressing again. I'm going to start pressing with both legs. I'm going to start using this left leg. Yes, it hurts. Yes, I'm crying, but big boys do cry.
Do they? No, that's a cool story and really motivating for other people as well, because obviously everyone has some kind of injury or some sort of setback at some point, and it's nice to see like someone like yourself come so far in really like for a severe injury like that in such a short space of time. That's to me is unbelievable, because I've seen your legs on stage. I saw them on stage on the weekend, and you would never know.
If you look closely, the scars are still there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have picked it. But Chris, in the meantime, like you've been doing some crazy leg sessions at City Gym. Tell me about those.
Yes, because I've had it in my mind now. My legs are so far behind because of the surgery. I want them to become my most powerful muscle.
Okay.
So I've forced myself to abuse my legs as much as possible to try and let them catch up.
Yeah.
So I'm not as embarrassed of them anymore. So they're not out of balance with my upper body. And it has been working. Been squatting heavy, been pressing heavy. The weight is just getting ridiculous because the muscle is now growing again.
Yeah.
So now many years later since the injury, I'm able to squat 280, 300 kilos. I'm pressing 750, 800 kilos for reps and that sort of stuff in the off season. So everything's going very, very well. And the muscle's actually growing and catching up again.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And how, like, are you training most of your leg sessions by yourself, or are you training with the boys? Oh, wow. I've got to put that up. That's great.
Yeah, that was when I was really depressed. That was how small I got.
It doesn't even look like you.
Yeah.
Harry, have a look at this. Have a look at this picture. You should have sent me that. I would have put it up. The difference in your face.
It was very bad. To about 70 kilo to about 140 kilo difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Blubber.
Send it to me. Yeah. Or send it straight to Harry. We're going to put it up now so everyone can see the difference. Like, that's just crazy. Because, Chris, what's your weight at the moment? Obviously, you've just been on stage, so you're in between two competitions. But what's your weight right now?
Right now, it's 112 kilos. 112.
Wow.
And I'm between 2 shows at the moment.
That's right.
So the weight might go up, it might go down. We'll see how my body's looking. And then we'll change the diet and we'll go from there.
Is there a weight that you aim to hit for a show? Like obviously you compete in the super heavyweight division. Is there a weight that you think, your body is kind of looking its best at a certain weight?
My body looks at its best between 110 at about 112, 13 kilo, around there. But I give the illusion, because my posing is getting better and better and better, I'm looking more three-dimensional and put together, I look bigger than I actually am. So my weight's about 110, 112 kilo. I look about 115, 120.
You definitely do.
Yeah, I look much bigger.
And what's your height like for
I'm
the
5'10".
audience?
5'10". I'm 5'10". Yes.
See, I would have thought you were even taller than that because of how much muscle you hold. Unbelievable. No, that's really good. And on the weekend, like for me, as I said to you, I couldn't really see, with your legs, I couldn't really see anything that was sort of like stand out to me, like you'd had problems with the legs at all. Your symmetry, I found, is actually quite pleasing. You've got a very tight X frame.
Yes,
and
my
your
waist is very small.
Yeah.
That's the main thing that I focused on over years, is just keeping my waist very, very small. And I've actually got a few tips and tricks on how to keep
I wanted to ask you what your tips and tricks, because I was going to say,
small, yes.
Is it genetic? Like this is something that your mum and dad have small waist? Like what's going on here? How can someone so big have such a tiny little waist?
Well, basically, there's 2 things. I don't deadlift off the floor at all, and I don't do flat bench press.
Okay.
At all. To build my back, I do a lot of bar rows and standing dumbbells.
Yes.
Standing dumbbell rows, but really, really heavy to build that thickness and that width. And then I go over into the corner and do a lot of T-bar rows, but I squeeze my shoulder blades together and I actually squeeze my abs on their own.
So are you getting your, was that self-discovered, those sort of training tips, or are you watching anyone? Is someone mentoring you in order to sort of sculpt your physique in that way? Like how did you learn that stuff?
Well, I learned it from a few people. One person really close to me is called Paul Haslam. He's been my... Hazzo, yeah. Shout out to Hazzo. He's been my trainer now for the past 6, 7 odd years. He's taught me a lot of different things because he was a competitive powerlifter back in the day and all that sort of stuff. And he had a very small waist himself.
He did, yeah.
So he said, keep away from the deadlifts and all that sort of stuff. Just rack pulls, bend over rows, and focus on the upper areas where I'm most weakest.
And that's what you've done.
And that's what I've done over the years.
So did Paul coach you into your first show?
Yes, he's been coaching me ever since my first show all the way until now. We haven't moved apart from each other. We've just been growing together as a team.
Yeah. No, that's
He's learnt my body, how it works when it comes to food and all that sort of stuff. When it comes to training, that's all me.
And so, Chris, tell me about the food. Like, how do you sort of structure your comp diet now as opposed to when you first started? Has it changed? Has it morphed a hell of a lot? Or?
Yes. My food discipline has changed dramatically over the years because when I was young, I didn't know much about food and dieting and all that sort of stuff. I got a lot of information from muscle development magazines and bodybuilding videos like Ronnie Coleman, and as we all did as a kid, reading bodybuilding magazines and that sort of stuff.
No one buys the magazines
No,
anymore.
they don't exist. Now it's all social media.
Yeah.
So, and then when I met Paul, he gave me a structured plan.
Yep.
And that's when it just all began after that. And then I thought, okay, if this is what I got to do, this is what I got to do. I got to stop eating pizza, stop eating the KFC and the rubbish takeaway, going through drive-through, all that sort of stuff, and do what it needs to be done. If it's not written on this piece of paper, I'm not even going to look at it. I'm not even going to smell it.
Yeah.
Because it's not on there, and it's not. That means if it's not on the paper, I'm not going to get the result. And that's what I've always done over the years. And over the years, I've just gotten better and better and better. My body's changed. I've gotten leaner. My muscles have grown. I've looked more three-dimensional, and I'm more put together. Or because it all comes down to what you're eating, how much you're eating, and when to actually eat it, kind of thing. And when I was a kid, I didn't know all this.
Yeah.
So it comes over time with experience and knowledge.
And it takes practice, doesn't it?
A lot of practice and a lot of preparation. And being Greek, it's a lot harder.
You were actually saying that off air, your mum has a lot to do with your meal preps.
Not meal prepping because we have our own charcoal chicken shop that's been there for the past 17, 18 years. I grew up in that shop actually. After school, Mum used to pick me up from school, go back to the shop, cut tomatoes, cut cucumbers and lettuce and all that sort of stuff as a kid. So we get a lot of that food wholesale price.
Yeah.
And because of the amount of food that I eat, it does save a little bit of money.
It's save heaps.
It's still expensive. Like I go through at least 20, 25 kilos of breast a week.
Yeah.
Chicken breast a week. So it gets quite expensive.
And Chris, are you always eating chicken? Like, do you eat any other meats, or is chicken something you prefer?
I'm a very heavy meat eater. So during the off season, I'll slow down on the white meats like the chicken and the turkey and all that sort of stuff, and I reach for a lot of beef. I'm a heavy beef eater, so I'll switch to at least a kilo per portion of beef. Yeah, like my T-bones and like my ribs and all that sort of stuff. So I'll just add all that, throw that on the barbecue, and put a bit of potatoes, and we're good to go.
Talking about, you know, your food and that sort of thing, you're a very big breakfast eater.
Oh, you're not just a breakfast eater, yeah.
I've seen photos of you with I don't know how many eggs.
Oh, on average, it's between 1.5 to 2 dozen whole eggs for breakfast, half a loaf of toast with butter, and about a litre of orange juice. That's just my average breakfast.
I wonder how many calories. Do you know how many calories? Have you worked it out?
In the off season, I don't count the calories. I just get the food in.
Yeah.
Like people keep telling me, especially professionals around the world, like Chris Cormier and Paul Haslam, if you want to grow, you need to eat.
Yeah.
So that's now stuck in my head. And being Greek, I'm a heavy eater, so you don't have to tell me twice.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Yeah. As long as you're hitting your protein requirements for the day, you feel...
Protein and all that sort of stuff, it's more than required. You know, it's just through the roof. Like I eat 10,000 plus calories in the off season.
Bullshit.
It just gets ridiculous. And I'm still hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. You could probably keep eating because, I've seen the pictures and I actually thought that you were having some kind of, I don't know,
little
family around
get together, that kind of thing.
Or your breakfast. It was madness. But people do ask you, how do you get so big? Like, do you think it's a combination of your training intensity, your genetics, and the fact that you're not scared to eat? Like, if someone asked you, how do you get big? Like, what are you going to tell them?
Like, I get asked that question quite frequently all the time. And basically the simple answer to that is you need to eat. If you want to grow muscle, you need to eat. It's like a newborn baby. If a newborn baby wants to grow, you got to keep feeding the baby. So the baby keeps eating 2 or 3 hours. Same thing with us as adults. We need to eat every 2 or 3 hours. So we will just keep growing. And in combination with my heavy lifting, the muscle is just going to keep expanding and getting bigger and stronger over time. But you can't just do it for a day or two or for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. It has to be consistently for a couple of years and just keep going and keep going. You even have to eat when you're not hungry. You need to force feed yourself. Like I've eaten to the point where I've brought it back up in my mouth, swallowed it, let it go down, drank some water, and just keep eating.
That's hardcore. It's like one of those birds, like vomiting up and then...
like a camel, like the camel crew. It's the same thing.
Yeah, awesome. That's good. And like, what do you find the hardest about prep? Like, do you find that when it does come time to cut the calories, do you actually find that that's a bit of a mess around for the head? Like, do you feel like you're starving?
In the beginning when I first competing, I didn't understand the struggle of dieting and the intensity, but I never complained about it because this is what I want to do, and I'm only actually doing it to myself. There's no reason to complain about it. No one's forcing me to do it, so I do it to myself. So yes, it was a really big struggle. I used to call my coach literally every 20, 30 minutes. I'm hungry. What can I do?
What did Hazo say?
Hazo say, just eat some lettuce, eat some sugar-free jelly, drink some water, fill up on water. I said, if I do that, I'm going to be going to the bathroom all the time. It doesn't matter. Just drink water. Yeah. Fill up on water. You know, but over the years, I've backed away from all of that because I've understood the powers of dieting and sacrificing and actually taking food away, getting into world-class shape, winning shows, and then after the show, yes, we can go eat. Yeah. We can have that bit of chocolate. We can have that piece of meat and potatoes after. But during preparation, no. If, like I said before, if it's not written on the piece of paper, not even going to look at it. Not even going to touch it. My mindset when it comes to food is just too strong. The discipline is just too strong.
Yeah. Do you execute any of the flexible dieting type stuff, or are you the type of person that will just...
Oh, no, I don't have this flexible dieting and one cheat meal a week, none of that sort of stuff. The day I started dieting is the day I do not change nothing that's written on that piece of paper. Unless I get told to by my coach, nothing changes.
Yeah.
I don't have a cheat meal, don't have a burger, no nothing. Yes, in the beginning I used to complain about it, but now over the years I've stopped because I've understood it better. I've understand the sport a lot better. The discipline has gotten stronger. My mindset has gotten stronger, and my focus on the sport to keep moving forward and get better and better and bigger and better shows has gotten better. So there's no need to complain about it.
What sort of physiques do you aspire to? Like, have you looked at guys on stage in the past, whether they're from Australia or, you know, pro Olympians? Like, who do you look at that you think that's the physique I want? That's what I'm aiming for.
Well, the guys I grew up with were in the 90s, like your Ronnie Combs, your Sean Ray, your Chris Cormiers, your Kevin Levrone, all those world-class bodybuilders with such a small waist and such a beautiful glass sculpture look.
Yep.
And they had that mass monster look, and that's just something I've always thrived on. Because I'm such a big boy, I'm thinking, wow, I want to look like that one day. I want to walk down the street and just have people stare and go, how's this guy so big? Like, what's going on here? Look at the size of him. And then
Freak.
the freaks, like a
Yeah.
Rolly Winkler, that kind of thing, a Big Ramy, that kind of thing. It's just abnormal to see that. Like, I don't want to be a normal person.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be abnormal. I want to be someone where that's people look and go, that's impossible to get. Not walk around the street, have a little bit of abs here and there. Because to me, that's too easy. That's too easy. You know, but to walk around with, you know, a back a meter wide and, you know, 23-inch arms, it's very hard to get.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, looking at these pictures, this was you.
That was the injury, yes.
This is
yes.
unbelievable.
That was the injury. You can see the bottom left-hand corner, size of the leg difference. Leg was
my
all
goodness.
bandaged.
It's a different
pins.
person.
Yeah, I got pins and, you know, bolts and all sorts of stuff through the legs there. It was pretty bad. My neck was gone.
It's horrific.
It is horrific, yeah. I'm in a neck brace, back brace, all sorts of stuff. I couldn't move. I was a plank of wood.
Chris, were you told that you might not be able to walk? Or
Yes. I was told by the doctor who done the surgery on my leg, and goes, you may or may not be able to use this leg. Wow. Because the damage was so severe.
What does that do to you mentally? Like, I can't imagine.
It shut me down because I thought, okay, my life's over. I'm going to be in a wheelchair. But then I thought over time, thinking, there's people out there with disabilities. There's people out there, you know, with prosthetics, but they're still living their dream. They're still doing marathons and all that sort of stuff. So I still have hope.
Yeah.
There's still things I can do.
Did you go through stages where you were just angry at the person?
I got very, very angry, but why have that anger for? It's not going to change anything. Yeah. So I've just learnt over time just to let it go, push in the back of my mind, try and forget about it, and we just got to just keep moving forward because we can't take the past away. We can only change the future. Yeah. And that's what's in my head.
No, it's that's incredible. I'm just looking at these photos of you now with all the meat.
All my meat, yeah. We've got
on the bone. It looks like it's falling off the bone.
It's falling off the bone, yeah. I had that slow cooking for a while for a couple of hours in the oven. Yeah, I got 3 whole lambs in there.
Is that raw?
That's a raw T-bone.
You're not eating it raw. This is for a photo. Come on.
That was just for a photo, yes.
I was going to say that's how you really get big is to eat
just
raw.
eat.
And that's the difference.
And that was the size difference. Yes.
Yeah, that was just looked like a different person.
Completely different. That's when I was drugged up on all sorts of painkillers and medication from the nurse. It was just sucking me dry. I dropped to about 65, 70 kilos.
I can't believe that.
And that's 140 kilos when I blew up on pizza.
Wow.
Yeah.
One extreme to the other. So you get where people are coming from half the time.
Oh yeah. So I understand when people say they're struggling, you know, they struggle to eat or they have an injury and all that sort of stuff. We all go through troubles, but we should not let those troubles stop us from achieving our goal. Yeah. The goal should still be there because the trouble will finish. You know, a broken leg will heal over time, but your goal will always be there. So why stop going after it? Yeah. Just because of a problem.
So you can empathise, but you're not going to put up with excuses either.
That's right.
Because you know that
so why make up an excuse?
That's it. That's it. Yeah. I wanted to talk about your posing because I've seen you on stage quite a few times now, and something that stands out to me is normally, and especially in a lot of the amateur levels, the bigger the guy, the less well he moves, the less flexible he seems to be. It's almost like they lose that coordination and that ability to flow and move really beautifully. But that's something that you do very well on stage. And I've noticed that you've been working a lot with a friend of mine, Chris Cormier.
Yes,
and
shout out to the real deal.
Like CC. Can we get that on camera? Chris is a phenomenal poser. I've actually done some posing lessons with Chris myself, and just the way that, you know, he moves the body at such a big size is quite incredible. So when did you start working with him, and what sort of drew you to Chris?
Well, Chris and I started working together only recently after the Arnold Classic 2019 this year, when I placed second against Jake Nikopoulos. Well done, buddy, for winning again your pro card.
Well done.
Congratulations, man. So, yeah, Chris approached me that day and said, look, I would really like to work with you with your posing. He goes, look, you're really young. You got a lot of potential. We can make you more three-dimensional through your posing and make you pop a lot better and flow a lot smoother. I said, okay, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in. When do we start? And that following week, he called me, and we just haven't stopped posing ever since. He calls me 3 or 4 times a day just to check on my posings, so I don't forget it.
Unreal. That's cool.
Over the years now, I've learnt posing on my own and through porn and all that sort of stuff. But Chris's techniques, just by a slight movement, makes just the biggest difference. I was just absolutely shocked on just a slight movement of hand placement or feet placement.
Makes such a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, just how much the body can change.
Yeah. And I've actually, that's one of my favourite poses that you do, actually. You have to do that in your next routine. I love that pose. But you put together quite a few unique old school poses.
Yes.
Was that you, or was that Chris? Or a combination?
It was a combination of me, Chris Cormier, and also Craig Lucas, and also Paul Haslam as well.
Yeah, I was going to...
So
because
all
you've
of
worked
us
with
combined.
all these guys, haven't you?
Yes.
And they've all got...
We've all worked quite closely.
Huge experience.
And I've combined a little mix and match and that sort of stuff. But when it comes to my posing, flexibility is also a must. You also got to be very flexible to get down on your knees. And because I'm heavy, it's hard to get on my knees and the ankles and do a lot of floor work and get back up and such, you know, and do it at a fast pace. So stretching is very important, because if you don't stretch, you won't be able to move.
That's it. And that's something that I try and tell the guys as well. Like, if you're not mobile and you don't work on your flexibility, which a lot of the young guys don't, it does affect their posing. They start to look like robots, don't they?
Yes. And I've seen a lot of people today that they don't practice their posing, and they're very stiff, and they do a lot of robot stiff posing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, if you start stretching and all that sort of stuff before and after your workout, even in the morning or before you go to sleep, your movements will actually flow a lot better.
So on top of the stretching, like, how often are you practicing your posing? Like, do you hit a couple of, moves or particular poses after every workout, or do you dedicate time aside? Like, okay, I'm going to train for an hour here, I'm going to pose for this long. What do you do?
In the beginning, I didn't pose as much, but over the years, I've come to understand that posing plays a very big part of the sport of bodybuilding. You could be the biggest guy on stage, the most conditioned, have the perfect hair, the perfect trunks, the perfect tan, the perfect everything. But if you can't pose and show off what you have created, no one's going to look at you.
Yeah.
So posing is very, very important. Okay, and the more you practice that, the better you're going to be. So I've come to understand now over the years, every time I see a mirror, I'll strike a pose.
I love that.
I'll get out of the shower, I'll hit a few shots in the mirror. Yeah. In my bedroom, a couple shots. When I wake up, a couple shots. Doesn't matter where I am, just to get that movement going.
What's your favourite pose?
Well, my good friend Sergio Olivier Jr. taught me how to do it very well. It's the standing victory pose that his father actually done many, many years ago, and he's Mr. Olympia as well. So, and I've done that over the years, and he's taught me how to do it the correct way. It's not just putting your arms up, it's actually putting your arms up and actually squeezing your lats. Your arms are actually not doing anything. They're just floating there. It's all in the back contractions.
Yes, so you can create that silhouette, right?
That's right. Right.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
So that's one of my favorite poses, and also another pose is when I'm on my knees and I got one hand up with a nice statue pose. So there's a lot of creation when it comes to posing, but you want to be something different on stage. You don't want to be like everyone else hitting the same shots over and over and over, because it gets boring. Yeah,
it does. And sometimes those same shots are evident because the guys are tight. They can't get into any other unique position.
They can't move.
They don't have that mind to muscle connection, like you said, with that victory pose. Like, if you're unable to, control your scapula and get your lats activating, there's no way you can hit that pose and make it look any good.
That's right. That's where practice comes into play. It just takes practice. You won't get it first, but like our mother used to say, practice makes perfect.
What do you think about, improving on your posing? How has that affected your training? Do you find that you're more coordinated in the gym? Like,
Yes,
you can feel the muscles better?
Absolutely. When it comes to posing, because I've learned to squeeze each individual muscle on its own, my minor muscle connection has gotten 100 times better. And then when I'm in the gym, I can actually focus a lot better on actually squeezing that muscle rather than just moving the machine. Example, like a lat pull down. I see a lot of people, they're just moving the machine, moving their arms. Yanking the weight, training with ego and all that sort of stuff. They're not actually training their back. As where me, I go a lot slower. Yes, the weight's heavy, but I'm also squeezing, contracting a specific area of my back. That's why now, over the years later, my back is much well put together.
Yeah, look at your waist.
It's
tiny.
Much
You've got a tiny waist.
Yeah, I think it's a 33 or something inch waist, around there somewhere.
And just to put it into perspective, a lot of the guys that I see for the physique division, the board shorts division, most of them are between 30, 33.
Around there,
waist, yeah. I mean, the top boys are lower, but majority have a waist like you.
Like waist, but my back is 4 times the size.
That's right.
4 times the width.
But it makes a huge difference on stage, and that's something that really caught my attention with your physique. And obviously your posing as well. Like, I thought your posing was next level. Like, you don't see a lot of amateurs that are able to move at that weight so gracefully. And I will call you graceful because I think that you are.
Thank you. Just takes a lot of practice.
Yeah. And are you getting much body work done? Like, do you dedicate time and money to things like massage, or how do you look after your body? How do you recover?
Recovery is also very important, especially when I'm in the gym and pounding the heavy weight and all that sort of stuff. My bones cop a lot of abuse, and especially I get a lot of muscle inflammation and all that sort of stuff. So sometimes I wake up in pain, and even after I train, I'm in a lot of pain, like I'm waddling around the gym and all that sort of stuff. And then what I'll do, I got one of those massage guns. I use those massage guns on my legs.
These are what the powerlifters use and the strength athletes.
Yeah, those Thera guns and all those massage guns. I use one of them. Also get massages done and all that sort of stuff. And I got foam rolling. I do a lot of foam rolling and all that sort of stuff. So each individual thing helps with recovery. Even salt baths and anything that will help, I will use. I'll try it. I'm open to anything when it comes to recovery, because recovery is also very important.
Crucial.
I've also started doing this cryotherapy and that sort of stuff, those ice baths and those ice things and that sort of stuff. And it's helped a little bit.
Are you saving that for post-legs sessions, or like your big sessions?
It doesn't really make it. It doesn't just make a difference. I'm just giving anything and go and see what helps the most. Yeah. And then I'll just stick with that.
And that's the thing with these kind of modalities as well. Like some people will swear by the dry needling. If that works for you, then keep doing it.
Exactly.
If the cryo works, then do that.
If it works, keep going.
Yeah.
If it works for you, why change it?
Yeah, that's it.
Why change it?
Yeah, don't change anything that's not broken. No, that's it. And with your presentation on stage as well, it's not just the posing, it's just not just the muscle. Obviously, you're very particular about your tan.
Yes.
So who do you use for your tan,
since day one, I've used Protein Australia. Shout out to Protein Australia, my sponsors. They've been absolutely fantastic over the years, because Protein Australia, they're also a major sponsor for the Olympia, which, as we all know, that's the best athletes in the world. Yeah. So why not use the best sprays in the world, the best tan in the world?
Because your tan is always very dark, very even. It's never patchy.
No, and it's always even, and it doesn't drip, it doesn't make a mess, it doesn't stick everywhere like all these other fake tans. Like, you'll touch the wall and it rubs off and all that sort of stuff, and it looks really amazing.
So how do they do your tan, Chris? Like, because you're quite dark already.
Yes,
so are they layering it?
Yes. What Andrea done, Andrea's the owner of Protein Australia, so we've actually done a few tests in the off season on what actually works, how many sprays to do and all that sort of stuff. So she'll spray me once with a gun. Yep. I'll sleep on it, and then in the morning I'll shower it off, like really scrub it off, and then she'll spray me another 2 or 3 times depending on my color during that year. Yes. Depending how long I spend in the sun and all that sort of stuff. If I've got pale white skin like a snow, like you, I'll need more sprays. Yeah. But if I'm gone darker, like an olive color, I'll only need 1 spray or even 2 sprays. Yeah. So it all comes down to what kind of a base you have.
Yeah. And the person needs to know, bodybuilding and the lighting on stage and how the skin reacts as well. Because I found that a lot of people that are new to competing, they'll say things like, oh, my friend's a beauty therapist, she's going to spray me. And it's like, no.
Yes, that's right.
No.
There's all different kinds of tans. Like, it doesn't matter who you use, but it all comes down to how it actually reacts to your skin, if you're a heavy sweater and all that sort of stuff. Like, I've seen some people, they're just gone to Woolworths and gone spray tan from Woolworths, put it on. I'm thinking, dude, you know how bad that looks? It looks green. From a distance, you look like an apple. Yeah. You're just green. So you got to do some research on your skin, check the pH levels and all
like you
sorts
said, you
of
did
stuff.
a test in the off season.
Yes,
so
we've done a few tests on how many sprays I should do, how dark we should go, how light should go and all that sort of stuff. And we actually found what works. Yeah. And we've just stuck with that ever since. And
Chris, very personal question, being Greek, hair removal.
Whoa, yes. I've gone through some razors.
Tell the guy,
I've gone through some shavers.
And because your back is like, over a metre in width, how the hell do you reach your back? Like, who's helping you with the
I got one of those shaver things that I got from the shaver shop. It's like an extension. So those back scratches?
Bullshit.
Those back scratches?
You're bullshit.
No. It's one of those back scratches, but it's got a clip on the end where you click the shaver on there and you can actually stretch over and shave your back.
Really?
Yeah, it's like one of those extending sticks.
Weird.
I didn't know about it. A friend of mine told me.
I've never heard of this before.
But before I found that out, my mother used to shave my back because I just can't reach. I just can't reach back there.
Good on her. That's good. So. Yeah. Well, you need help, don't you?
Yeah. It's hard. It gets hard.
And so some of the guys, like, would you recommend shaving over waxing or like?
It depends.
What do you think?
It depends. See, my skin is very sensitive, so when I wax, I break out and I get like chicken pox and I get rashes and all sort of stuff. So I can't wax. Yeah. Even when I shave with a razor blade, I still break out. So what I actually do is I get clippers and take them down extremely low to virtually nothing. Yeah. And you can't see it. You can't see it. It's like when you shave your head bald, it's the same thing.
Yes, yeah. Because a lot of guys will ask that. They'll say, how do you get that nice, clean looking skin?
Yes. And you don't have to go bare skin. You don't have to go bare skin. Just take it as low as you possibly can.
Yes. It's more the fluff that you've got to get rid of.
Yes.
So when you're on stage, the stage lighting is so bright that it looks like you've got like a fur if you don't get rid of that.
Yeah, you got a bit of a fur carpet on your back.
Yeah.
I've seen some guys have missed a few spots here and now. I'm thinking, dude, you should have got that fixed first.
You need the shaver extension.
I need my stick.
What are they called? Shaver extensions?
Shaver extension sticks or something like that. Yeah, the shaver shop. Yeah, the shaver shop's got them.
You know what? Some of the girls need these as well, like, to be honest.
Yeah.
Back screw. No, to shave the back. Here's you practicing your posing again.
Yeah, I'm always practicing shots.
And City Gym, I must admit, like, they've got a really cool little area for posing, and they've got a couple of little mirrors set up on an angle. Yes. So you can see your back poses. So if you're working on your...
It's actually under construction now. City Gym's actually under construction now. We're actually bringing it all up to date because that place has been there since the 70s.
Since the beginning of time.
Since the beginning of time, that's right. And it hasn't changed. And now the new owner, Billy and Andrew, have spent a lot of money in upgrading the bathrooms, new rooms, floorboards, all that sort of stuff. They've added boxing rings, spas, saunas, all sorts of stuff. Even brand new Arsenal equipment and Prime equipment and hammer strength. It's on its way.
Arsenal equipment, that's from America,
that's
isn't
all
it?
American
that's
equipment.
American
yes.
equipment.
Yeah, it's all in the containers on its way over.
Do you know what sort of pieces they're
Yes, I've looked at all the pieces. I've had a say in the equipment. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be a gym in Australia who actually has this equipment. And he's bought a whole new range of dumbbells. We're all going up to 200-pound dumbbells now.
Because they've had the same equipment for all those years.
Since it opened.
Yeah, that's
Since it opened. So it's pretty run down. It's pretty old school. But they're still going to keep the old school feeling. And Billy's actually bringing the old school back. Bringing all the old pictures out and all that sort of stuff. So,
I love that.
Yeah. So it's going to be good.
I hope you're going to be on the wall.
I will be on the wall. Hopefully when I...
So does he just put the pros on the wall? Like, how's that going to work?
Well,
like, do you need to prove yourself?
Well, I told Billy, I said, look, one day when I turn pro, I want to be the face of the gym. He goes, not a problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not a problem.
We better hold him to that. Make sure he's like true to his word. Yeah, I'll remember that. No, that's good. Tell me about your gym sessions just quickly as well. Like, you've had some different training partners
Yes,
over the
training
years.
partners, and people have joined into my workouts over the years. See, the thing is, my workouts are like Dorian Yates's and Ronnie Coleman's. Heavy weight, as heavy as you possibly can, and as many reps as you possibly can, because that is scientifically proven to build thick, dense muscle. Yeah. It's the only way. You're not going to build muscle moving, 2 or 3 kilo dumbbells. You build muscle by building, by lifting dumbbells
heavy weights
that make noise when you drop them.
You sound like
thump.
someone I know, Justin.
You
Justin
need that
talks
thump.
about
That's right. You need that thumping
weights.
noise.
Yep.
So people that train with me know it's going to be hard. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be a lot of abuse. I'm going to be in your face, yelling, screaming at you, swearing at you. I don't care if you tell me off. I just care about you just moving.
Lifting it.
Just lift the weight. Get as many as you can out. You don't have to go as heavy as I can, but as long as you put in 100%, I don't care.
So what's a pet peeve of yours in the gym? Like what sort of things piss you off?
Oh, the one thing that really pisses me off is people that play with their phones.
Yeah?
They sit on the machine and I'm sitting there waiting. I said, dude, I'm thinking in my head, if only I could say something, get off your phone, but I got to bite my tongue.
Nice.
I'm too nice. So I'll just go do something different. But you go to the gym to work. If you want to go to the gym and talk and play with your phone, go to the beach.
Planet Fitness.
Go to Planet Fitness. Go somewhere else. Go to the beach.
Yeah.
Go to the beach. And another thing is those fans in the corners. People turn them on and they just stand under them. I'm thinking, dude, if you're that hot and sweaty, go to the beach and swim. You go to this gym to work and get hot and get sweat. Don't need to stand under a fan. If you're that hot, drink some water. Take the jumper off and drink some water.
Who's been one of your standout training partners or guys that you've sort of really enjoyed the session with?
Well, recently, Chris Cormier has pushed me to the ultimate limit. We trained legs a few months back in Melbourne at Tony Doherty's gym in Brunswick there. He pushed me so far that my eyes popped out of my head. Okay, literally, my eyes went, I think I almost bursted a blood vessel actually, because we were hack squatting.
And that does happen sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it was very painful. It was very painful. And he was in my face, yelling, screaming, come on, let's go. And the weight was moderate to heavy weight, but it was those last 3 or 4 reps where
what were you doing, Chris? Volume? Like heavyweight volume?
High volume training. But it was those last 2 or 3 reps where I just couldn't get up. And he had to get in my face. And that last rep, when I got up, I actually collapsed on the machine. My legs just gave way. I just fell over. I couldn't get up. So that was probably the most intense workout I've ever done. Actually.
Was that one filmed?
That was
Gary Phillips.
That was on my Instagram
actually.
That was on my Instagram actually. It's on my Instagram there, training with Chris Cormier. So Gary Phillips was there, but I don't think he was filming that day.
Because he's doing a documentary, and Chris Cormier is involved in that as well. So I wouldn't be surprised you might even make an appearance.
Oh, hopefully.
Or the story of the popping eyeballs. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's there.
No, it's good.
It's there. Yeah, I'll pop it over to you.
Yeah, send it. Love to see it. What was your most memorable competition? Like, what was your most...
Well, the most memorable competition
or
was...
meaningful win,
The most meaningful win was probably... struggling between 2. Would have been the Arnold Classic recently.
Yep.
Or the Amateur Olympia.
Did you go into those shows feeling confident? Like, did you feel like you were going to take out those shows?
No, absolutely not, because I never know who I'm going up against until I'm there on the day, looking at the TV screens or the pieces of paper, the rego papers and things like that. So I never know. Yep. But being a young kid, watching the Olympia growing up, I'm thinking, I've just entered an Amateur Olympia show. This is pretty major.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect. I don't know who's coming from all over the world. I don't know, but I'm just going to give
my
best shot.
It's open to everyone.
I didn't know that at the time.
Countries, yep.
Yeah, I didn't know that at the time. So that wasn't the first one. That was the first one that was most memorable. And then the second one was the Arnold Classic. And as we all know, the Arnold Classic is very major in the world as well. So that's another thing.
Attracts a lot of freaks as well.
A lot of freaks. But
chasing their pro cards.
My goal was to not win, because that was my first Arnold Classic show that I've ever done. My goal was to not win, but to try and at least make top 5.
Yeah.
And not only did I accomplish that goal, but I placed second to the person who turned pro.
Yeah.
So that was another big achievement for me. So that just goes to show that your hard work and the no give up attitude, and basically just shut your mouth and do the work and don't make up excuses, works.
Chris, why do you think you came second that day? Like looking at Jake, the winner, like what do you think he had that day that you didn't?
I would say it's more experience, because Jackie has a lot more experience, because he's a pro as well. He used to be a NABBA pro, so he's traveled the world. He's competed internationally against
some big guys,
real big guys like Anthony Bales.
Exactly,
he's another one of my heroes I look up to. So he's battled him, and Jake's just a great guy, phenomenal poser. He knows how to pose, he knows how to move. He's got a lot of experience. So it was actually an honor to be on stage with another pro and play second to him.
Yeah.
Being my first Arnold Classic show. It was actually very emotional for me. I actually broke down backstage. I started crying because I couldn't believe it.
You said that before, big guys cry.
Yeah. I'm not ashamed of it.
I'm yet to see this. Chris, I would love to thank you very much for coming on My Posing Coach podcast. Have you got any sponsors or anyone that you would love to do a shout out to?
Yes, I'd like to give a shout out to my home gym, City Gym, the guys down there. Hope all the construction's going well. Protein Australia, I'll be seeing you soon for another spray for the Australian Nationals in Melbourne next week. And also my new sponsors, Iron Tanks. They've been fantastic.
Tell us about Iron Tanks just quickly.
Iron Tanks, I approached them a couple of weeks ago and they took me on straight away. They've sent me a whole range of gear, a whole range of shoes, products and all sorts of stuff.
And what do they sell? Like what are their...
They sell a whole range of clothing line and belt straps and all that sort of stuff, training attire and all that sort of stuff. And it's actually very comfortable to wear.
Yeah, good.
The belts won't pinch you in your belly and all that sort of stuff. And the boots that they have are real high. They're like similar to rider wear boots. They're very high, very thick. So they're good for squatting and a lot of leg movements. So your ankles won't roll and support your ankles a lot better.
Yeah, cool as. And if people want to get in contact with you, because obviously you do the comp prep coaching and
I do a lot of guidance. I do a lot of guidance and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
And so how do people get in contact with you?
Well, you can contact me on my website. My link is on my Instagram page at Chris Kavvalos there. You can contact me via website there or my Instagram, Facebook. There's a lot of ways. To contact me.
We'll put the links up on the podcast channel anyway. Chris, again, thank you very much. All the best for your upcoming shows. I have no doubt that you'll be a force to be reckoned with and people better watch out. You're coming.
I hope so. I'm bringing the noise.
Yeah,
I'm bringing something different, working with a few people. So expect something phenomenal in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, good on you. Good on you. And if you would like to get more information from me, contact me via Facebook or Instagram at My Posing Coach or via my website, myposingcoach.com. Thanks for listening.
Beautiful.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Take care.